If you follow my work at all, you know that I just recently released second editions of basically like two of my best-selling books, Bigger, Leaner, Stronger and Thinner, Leaner, Stronger. Bigger, Leaner, Stronger is for men, Thinner, Leaner, Stronger is for women. And obviously I've had a lot of readers and, just of the blog and of my books previously, and followers and whatever, ask what are the differences, why the second edition. I addressed this briefly on the sales page. Sales pages for the books, just that question, what's the difference between them? But basically the long story short is I published Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, the first edition, which you can see here. I published it in January 2012, and as you can see, it's not a very big book. I didn't really know how people are going to respond to it, so I didn't want to make it this big, massive thing. I wanted to just put the core fundamentals in there, put all the basic information in there, everything that you need to just get going, and in almost erring on the side of giving, I wouldn't say giving too little information, but I wanted to err on the side of maybe glossing over certain things that aren't you don't necessarily need to know to just get going and get results, but make sure that all the fundamentals and all the practical information was in there. And so I published it without any. I didn't have any contacts in the industry. I didn't have even any book launch plan. I did nothing. I just put it online. I put some thought into the marketing of it. I came up with the name and, put a little bit of, I think that the design was pretty cool, not bad. But it was, it had professionally designed or whatever. And then it was probably by like 6 months or so, it was selling pretty well. And I saw like, this could be something worth pursuing further. And I started getting a lot of feedback as well on the program. So what I had been doing basically is I was keeping a Word document of all the feedback that I would get where, I would judge what people were telling me. And people had a lot of good suggestions, a lot of good questions, points that would need clarification and so forth. And then also, as I've done a lot of research and done a lot of writing on over here, over at Muscle for Life, I had my own list of things that I wanted to change in the book. Nothing major, just minor things regarding meal timing and such. Like as I'd come across new research, I'd want to either modify what I recommend in the book, or add things that give you more tools, I guess you could say, for achieving your goals, just to make the process, especially with diet, you want it to be as flexible as possible, meaning you want to be able to eat a wide variety of foods. You want to be able to eat on a schedule that works for you. You need to be able to build your diet in a way that you can sustain it over the long term. You don't want dieting to be kind of like a short term ordeal. It's not something that you just suffer through for a couple months to drop as many pounds as possible before your willpower just crumbles. You know what I mean? Instead, you want diet to be, you don't want to feel like you're a slave to diet. You want to feel like diet is a functional tool that you can use to change your body as desired. And it's something you can loosen up on if you want to. Like let's say it's the holidays and you're just going to enjoy yourself, and so you want to do what you want to make sure that you're eating enough to, or eating in a right balance to, let's say, maintain your training intensity, maintain your muscle, but you're going to knowingly overeat a bit, put on some fat, and then afterwards you want to know what to do. How do you change it to now just get rid of that fat, get back on track, and so forth. So and then on the training side of things, nothing major has, there weren't any major modifications. The main modification that I've made, and I've been kind of trialing this with guys for probably about 8 to 10 months now, is putting a little bit more upper body work in the second edition workouts versus the first edition workouts. Just because particularly chest and shoulders on a lot of guys are the slowest to come in. Lower body usually comes in pretty quickly, just between heavy squats and heavy deadlifts at a proper weekly volume and intensity brings the lower body up pretty quickly. And the reality is also, many guys, most of us, we want to have great legs, but we don't want to have absolutely massive legs to where we can't fit into any jeans and all we can wear is sweatpants. And now, of course, that doesn't come easily. It comes with a lot of work. But the lower body, the legs being the biggest muscle group in the body, they you're going to build your legs faster than you're going to build your shoulders, which are small muscles, which have a pretty big visual impact on your physique. Though, if you see, you usually you can see this with guys that do a lot of, let's say something like Starting Strength or Strong Lifts, which are great programs, but they if a guy has been doing one of those programs for a while, you're probably going to see a very well developed, big, strong lower body, and in comparison, an underdeveloped upper body, and particularly an underdeveloped chest, and particularly upper chest and shoulders. And that's not really a critique of those programs. Those programs are not they're not necessarily like, they're good for building muscle and looking good, but they're not geared specifically for aesthetics. They're geared for strength. So I had basically made this long list of things that I wanted to add and change about both Bigger, Leaner, Stronger and Thinner, Leaner, Stronger. Because like speaking for Thinner, Leaner, Stronger for women, the emphasis becomes a bit more of the lower body, because most women want I guess you could say like a lean kind of, but not overly muscular, toned. That word kind of sucks, but I guess the only way it communicates. Upper body, like you don't want to have a frail upper body and then a good lower body, but most women want to have an athletic looking upper body, and I guess you could say a bit of an overdeveloped lower body, even in that overdeveloped glutes, for instance. And by overdeveloped, I just mean in proportion. Not that it looks bad, but you're going to find that most women, the type of body that they want, it requires a bit more emphasis on the lower body than the upper body. So there's just a difference there between goals and between, again, how people's bodies develop. And with women, it takes a bit more emphasis because hormonally, women are just not really, they're not genetically predisposed to building muscle easily, basically, because probably the main difference is just testosterone levels. Your average guy versus your average girl, when you're looking at T, is the girl's going to have about 1/10 to 1/15 of the testosterone as the guy. And testosterone is the driving hormonal force behind protein synthesis, behind muscle growth. So probably about a year and a half or a year or so of gathering up all this feedback and gathering up all these notes and doing all these things, I felt like, okay, I feel like this warrants now a new book. Because I didn't want to release a second edition, just like change a couple things and add a couple paragraphs here and there, and then just for an excuse to say, oh, here's a second edition, give me more money. I wanted to deliver something that somebody could read the first edition and then read the second edition right after it, and actually feel like, wow, they really got even more value. So that was my goal, and I felt like there was a point probably about 6 months ago when I started to work on the second edition, when I was like, okay, or second editions, plural, where I felt like I could do that now, I could deliver that. So what I did was, all the basic principles of both Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, Thinner, Leaner, Stronger are the same, but I basically rewrote the book from scratch. Because I wanted to, I'm a better writer now than I was then. I've written, I don't even know how many words at Muscle for Life. It might even be close to 1 million words or so, just at the blog. So practice makes perfect, right? So I'm a better writer now. And I want to reorganize the books as well, make them a bit more user-friendly, and add all this additional content in and tweak the training to really just maximize results. And the result here, here's the second edition of Bigger, Leaner, Stronger. So also I got a new cover made, which I think this cover is cooler for sure, and I'm pretty happy about it. And as you can see, it's quite a bit thicker. I added about 50,000 words, 40,000 words. So you can see the difference. You can see the difference there. I think the original book was about 70,000 words of content, and the new is about 130,000 words, give or take. And I've been getting a lot of great feedback. I really didn't want to add filler too. That's another common second edition, I wouldn't say scam, but it's just a second edition thing, is to add a bunch of diagrams and just add charts and stuff that, it doesn't take very much work, but it makes it look cool and makes it look, like you're getting more. And so I didn't want to do that either. I did add, there are a couple more visual type of elements, like there are some more sample meal plans, but these were things that people were consistently asking for. For instance, I didn't add diagrams for every single exercise you're going to do, because I still think that The big lifts are in there, the military press, bench press, squat, deadlift, and there's each of those get their own section and really lay out proper form with diagrams and everything. But there are a lot of other exercises. It's just not necessary. Again, I give links to videos for proper form in the bonus report, and I really think that's the best way to do it, because a lot of the exercises are just very simple. You're going to watch a video, you're going to keep a few basic things in, you're going to do the exercise a few times, and you're going to feel comfortable with it, and that's going to be it. Whereas a squat, there are more things to keep in mind, especially as you're loading it heavy and so forth. So, the additional content, that extra bulk that you see, I mean, it's also, it's a bit bigger. This is a 6x9 book, and this is a 7x10, I believe. So you're looking at, you can see here, it's not only quite a bit thicker, but the pages have more words on them. And then also here's Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, and here's the new cover. So here's the old one here, you can see, and then here's the new one. Again, same style as Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, it's different colors and girl in the background instead of me. Again, I think it looks pretty cool. You can see, the back here, and so it's similar in terms of word count. There are quite a few different little things that have been tweaked to make them fit for women specifically, but the principles are the same, of course. I mean, a girl's metabolism works fundamentally the same way as a guy's. Girls just burn less energy. Girls have to do fundamentally the same things to build muscle and lose fat. They just do it slower. They lose fat slower as well. That girls could read Bigger, Leaner, Stronger and do the program and be okay, but I would recommend that they read Thinner, Leaner, Stronger instead, because the program's a bit different. As I said, it's a bit more lower body centric, and then there are quite a few different female specific things that are in there. Again, these were just basically came from a lot of reader feedback and things that women would run into that guys don't run into as much. Water retention is a thing that women have to deal a lot more with, especially with monthly periods and so forth. And guys, we do run into water retention issues now and then, but it's just not as usual. And it's like when a girl's going about losing weight, you can pretty much count on water retention being a problem, obscuring fat loss and so forth. And women should know about that so they don't get discouraged. But guys I would say that, chances are they're not going to run into water retention problems unless their potassium or sodium intake is all over the place, or unless something physically is up, or unless they just are genetically predisposed to holding water, which some people are. But again, a lot of that relates back to hormones, and girls are more hormonally inclined to have to deal with water retention than guys, basically. Yeah, I mean, that's how these second editions came about. And so, like I said, it was a lot of work. Probably, I started on it about 6 months ago, and a lot of that time was the writing, because I really did just start from scratch and took each chapter, rewrote them, reorganized the entire book. Now there are it's broken up into sections that deal with. So the first section deals with fundamental type things, basic laws of fat loss, muscle growth, the big mistakes that people make. And then the second section is what I call inner game, which has been expanded on. This was something that a lot of readers were asking for, a bit more on willpower, motivation, because when it comes to diet and training, there are basic, I guess you'd say, laws and principles that you have to follow, but they're very flexible. And in terms of your training, in terms of the time that it takes, it does not take hours and hours and hours every week to get fit. And on diet, you can eat all kinds of foods, and you can really enjoy your diet and still have a great body and still achieve your goals. So those basic principles probably give you about 80 to 90% of your progress. But compliance is the big thing. You've probably heard that the best diet is the diet you can stick to, kind of thing, and there's truth in that. As long as the diet manages energy balance properly, and as long as it manages macronutrient intake properly, and as long as it provides you with adequate micronutrients, those are very flexible rules to follow. You can fit all kinds of foods in there. You can you could go high carb, low carb. You could be vegetarian. You could be vegan. You could be strictly just a meat eater. Almost like a paleo without the vegetables. Not that that's the healthiest way to do it, but a lot of different things that you can do. But if you can't stick to the diet, then that's going to be the problem. So I wanted to address that. And training is similar. If you're following some basic rules of, progressive overload, if you're emphasizing heavier lifting, if you're doing the right types of exercises, emphasizing the compound lifts over the isolation lifts, and if you have your weekly frequency and then intensity and volume, if you understand that relationship and you're managing it at least semi-decently, you're going to make progress in the gym. And, again, though, it's going to require that you stick to the program. So I greatly expanded that inner game section and put a whole, pretty big chapter. It's about a 30-page chapter actually on just the whole science of willpower and discipline and how to stick to your program. And that's been getting a lot of really good feedback. People really, really like that. And it was a lot of fun for me to research. Basically I had to read a bunch of books and take all my notes and compile them all together. It was just fun. It was a fun thing to put together. And I'm really happy with how it came out. And then we have the third section is nutrition and diet, which just gives you everything you need to know about what really is and isn't healthy dieting, and how do you use diet, and how do you, as I was saying earlier, how do you make it a tool as opposed to just feeling like it's an oppressive tyrant that looms over you every day, telling you what you can and can't do, and you don't even get where you want to be. Then the fourth section is training, so that goes into all the exercise information and lays out the whole program that you're going to be doing. And then there's a section 5, which is supplementation, which just goes over most workout supplements are crap and they're just a waste of money. Some are not. None are necessary, but some can help you get to your goals faster. So I explain which ones are and aren't worth it and why. And then there's some end of book stuff where I give my contact information, and then there's a Q&A section which I've also expanded on and added a bunch of questions that I've been asked just frequently, and put the answers there in the end of the book. And then there's some bonus report stuff, and I talk about my meal plan service and Legion supplements and so forth in the back. So those are the new books. If you've read the first editions, you're not going to feel ripped off. I guarantee you. I have put hundreds of hours into just really retooling and overhauling these books and making them as good as possible. And I'm really happy with how it came out. I'm getting a lot of good feedback. I mean, you can just go on Amazon, just look at the last 2 weeks worth of reviews, and you'll see there's quite a few in there from people that had read the previous one, and they're really, really happy with this second and really feel like this is like the books have kind of come into their own. Like this is I wouldn't say these are my masterpieces, but I think that they're a big improvement on the first editions, which I also did my best at the time, but now I'm able to do better essentially. And I could have just left the other books up and they would continue to sell well and do the whole thing. But I want to deliver as good of products as I can, basically, and really try to over deliver. The books are not expensive. The ebooks are $7 to $9 depending on discounting that occurs randomly, and then the paperbacks are like $11 to $15, also depending on, sometimes Amazon discounts, sometimes they don't. It's out of my hands. They just do their thing. So if you haven't even read these books at all, I highly recommend you check them out. I'm also doing a whole giveaway where I'm giving away over $10,000 in actual stuff, not like stupid, shitty PDFs that I say are worth $100. When no, these are like hard goods, like workout gear, headphones, supplements. Nico, one of my guys that works with me closely on all of my Muscle for Life stuff, he spent months reaching out to companies, explaining what we're doing with this book launch and getting them to send us stuff so we can give it away to you for buying books. So I think you'll be pretty surprised actually. Some of these prizes, I'm like, damn, that's actually I want to win. Of course, I'm not in it, but anyways. So yes, if you want to find out more about the books, you can go to muscleforlife.com/launch, and I'll put the link down in the description below for those on YouTube. And you can read about the books, and if you want to get them and get in the giveaway, I'd be grateful, and I'd love to hear your feedback. If you, as I was saying before, if you haven't read the books, I've gotten, a lot of really, really good feedback. I mean, I got a lot of good feedback on the previous editions as well, but I mean, people are really blown away with how comprehensive and how thorough these books are, where they feel like they don't even need to, like, this answered every question they had, that they have been unable to get answered, reading a bunch of other books and magazines and so forth. And I wouldn't say these are the end all be all of fitness books and you don't have to ever read anything else again, but I can say that If your goal was simply to learn the 80%, learn the 20% of the knowledge that's going to give you 80%, or even I'd say 90% of your results, and if all you did was read, if you're a girl, if you read Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, or a guy, Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, if that's all you did, you would be there. Like, these books give you everything you need to know to build muscle. And I wouldn't say just build muscle, but to build a lot of muscle. Like, build, I would say to at least reach 80% of your genetic potential in terms of muscle and strength, and lose fat, and it's basically have the body you want to have. And if you now want to take it further and you want to really maximize, like, you don't just want to be muscular and lean, you want to be like really freaking muscular and really lean and, super strong, then of course there's more you have to know. And you have to get more specialized in your training. So, I have a lot of guys that they'll get on Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, and a fair amount, I wouldn't say a fair amount. There are occasionally girls also that run Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, and, they build a really solid foundation, but now they want to get into, let's say, really into strength training. They want to get really, really strong. Well, of course, now they change, and I've helped a lot of people move into other programs like 5-3-1 for powerlifting, or even Westside Barbell and so forth. And so there's that direction. Or if they want to go really in the aesthetics kind of proportions direction, then the training does change a bit, and that's why I actually wrote there's a sequel to Bigger, Leaner, Stronger called Beyond Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, which is meant for intermediate and advanced weightlifters that want to not just maximize strength and muscle in general, but they want to also in a sense, if you want to really sculpt a physique and you want to really address your weak points, and that's also, that's another direction you can go in. So, and just to throw it out there, a lot of girls have asked if I'm going to do a sequel to Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, and the answer is yes. I probably won't be able to start on it until later this year. For me, Beyond Bigger, Leaner, Stronger was very easy to write because it was something that I had been running that program for close to a year, and running other people on it, and the dietary stuff that I go over, the advanced dietary stuff, it's not that it's all that advanced, it's just that it requires you understand and have a really firm grasp and personal certainty on the basics that I go over in Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, and then you can start getting fancier in a way. I'd been doing all that myself, and so it was very easy to write because I'm speaking from my own experience and my experience working with people. With girls, I now am starting to do that process and tweaking programs and seeing, where should a girl go once she's done, let's say, something like Thinner, Leaner, Stronger for a year or two. What's the next play that is going to appeal to most women? So I'm kind of in research phase on that right now, and I plan on starting writing it later in the year. So that's my spiel on the books. That's what makes the first editions or the second editions different than the first editions. And again, if you want to get more information, you can go to muscleforlife.com/launch.